A new Kanye West video dropped, and not an actual video, but it is a rant by Kanye West. Basically, what this is all about here, let me just go ahead and set this up for you guys, because I kind of want to watch this. You know why? Because I'm interested in Kanye West. He is a fabulous kind of case study in what happens when the mentally ill are not properly taken care of. Just a little backstory here. I'm sure you're all aware Kanye West is basically insane. And he is bipolar, and stopped taking his medicine and has kind of gone off of his rocker over the last couple years. Said a lot of things about Jewish people. Was on Alex Jones saying that he loves Hitler, stuff like that. And it's a symptom of his psychosis. He's basically stopped taking his medicine. And when you get people with mental illness and lots of internet exposure, they tend to grab onto certain things. And a large things that schizophrenics and people who with untreated mental illness seem to gravitate to are fringe theories and ideals, especially when it comes to conspiracy theories. Anti-Semitism seems to be one of those things that they're readily grab onto. Now, I'm no psychologist, but it kind of looks like to me that Kanye West has narcissistic personality disorder, essentially, where he's just like basically a narcissist, thinks that the world revolves around him. And I can understand that, because he's a person who's super rich, and when you're rich, you basically get people that are nice to you and say everything that you say is right and correct and you're the best ever because they want to get that money. That's why, because he's surrounded himself with yes men who want to get a little bit of his cash, or who at least want to maybe elevate their own celebrity status by sort of being in his orbit. And, that's a thing that just happens with rich and powerful people in general. They always have an entourage of various people who are trying to use them in one way or another. And this is something that we've seen from Kanye West. I mean, remember for a little while, Milo Yiannopoulos and Nick Fuentes were hanging out with this guy. When he had dinner with fucking Donald Trump with Nick Fuentes there, he's hanging out with Nazis and like alt-right freaks and stuff like that. Why? Do you think Nick Fuentes actually cares about Kanye West? No. He wants his money. Right? He wants to get his hands on his money. That's what it is. So what do you do when you want to get your hands on somebody's money? You butter them up, you kiss their ass. And Kanye West is someone who has been basically living with everybody kissing his ass for so long, with nobody willing to tell him to shut the fuck up, take your fucking medicine, you fucking insane person. Like, no one's saying that to him. So he goes on these crazy fucking rants. There was an interview that he did with a guy that we actually went through in a prior live stream, and I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy basically tried to say this to him, and he said, we all need somebody that calls us out on our bullshit once in a while. We're all full of shit once in a while. And Kanye West took major offense to that. He was extremely pissed at that, at the idea that he could be wrong about something. Kind of reminds me a lot like Donald Trump, that they just never admit they're wrong about anything at all. That's what I got out of that conversation. And that's what seems to be happening with Kanye West here. So I want to kind of review a little bit about this, because it's fascinating to me. It's fascinating to see that intersection of mental illness, politics, and conspiracy theory. And where you can kind of see where one melds into another, and how did he get this idea? How did he get that idea? That kind of thing. Let's see what Kanye West has to say. I'm going to turn this down just a little because it's super loud. Let's listen to Kanye West and his latest rant here. Apparently this is at a listen party. I guess he's got a new single or something, or a new album or something like that. And they were listening to his music. And then he just started going off on the room. So, okay, enough bullshit. Let's continue.
No, none of y'all motherfuckers here with no Instagram, nobody living, nobody at, and I don't want to hear shit from none of these Jewish niggas talk about, oh, he's in an episode. Harley Pasnick followed me to the fucking hotel. The nigga killed Aaron Carter, and now they acting like they won't kill clear the Backstreet Boy sample. You get what I'm saying? Harley Pasternak Pusher, your trainer. Harley Pasternak, Jay-Z. You get what I'm saying? And then niggas be hanging around these niggas just for the money or some Mike Rubin shit. I slap the shit out of Mike Rubin. I see that nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, fuck.
So, what is he talking about here? This is all. Now, this is something that you'll get from these people that have this type of psychosis. Is that they'll talk about things that only they or certain people in a certain group would know anything about, as if it's everybody should know it. That's a thing that it's kind of a symptom of this sort of bipolar kind of disorder thing. They assume everybody knows what they're talking about. Nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about. Nobody in that room has any clue about any of the shit that he just said. Right there. And he's ranting and raving about it. And then another thing you'll see is that they treat every small little slight as if it's like a personal affront. Even things that are like small little items that they, small things that any normal person would forgive. It's like, oh, well, they didn't know this or whatever, blah, 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 blah. They treat it all like it's some kind of personal fucking attack on them that somebody is doing just to ruin, because they're like out to get them and stuff. It's sort of like a paranoia kind of thing. And you're going to start seeing some of that here pretty soon too. You know what we're going to do? We're going to increase the speed of this. Is it possible? Oh, I guess I can't increase the speed. Oh, well, let's continue.
Fuck these niggas, bro. Fuck these niggas, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm on my Farrakhan Don shit right now, bro. Because guess what? These Yeezys gonna sell. Yeah. They sabotaged the show today. They sabotaged the Instagram. They cut off the fucking Adidas contract. They did all the shit. Then they want to go get Light Skin Ye. You gotta understand. That's Jerry. His real name is Light Skin Ye, bro. Dead ass.
So he's talking about basically him losing all of his endorsements. It can be kind of hard to follow sometimes. But yeah, he's like talking about Yeezys and all that. Right? It's basically talking about him losing all of his endorsements because he said a bunch of anti-Semitic stuff. Basically came out, said that he fucking loved Hitler, that kind of thing. So he lost all of his shoe deals and that stuff like that. And of course, it's a conspiracy. It's not the result of his own actions. It's not because he said some crazy shit and came out like a fucking insane white supremacist madman. And yes, you can be a white supremacist and not be white. Yes, you can. So, all right, but to make that less confusing, I will say pro white supremacist madman. There you go, because that's what he's basically doing. He's coming off as a pro white supremacist, pro Nazi, fucking crazy anti-Semitic crazy person. Adidas doesn't want to be associated with that. Who's gonna buy shoes from somebody like that, walking around saying I love Hitler and it's all the Jews' fault and stuff? So there's that disconnect, a complete disconnect, the results of his own actions. Like, no, it's not because he did something wrong. It's a conspiracy. And that is a classic symptom of somebody who has this kind of psychosis. Moving on.
Told me that was his name. It's Light Skin Ye. They want the light skin version. They want a George Floyd. They want a Virgil. They don't let me speak at the funeral. I saw 2, 3, 4, 5 white people not let me speak at Virgil. None of y'all niggas and Drake, nigga. And, hold on.
By the way, you see that? Right? They want a light skin version of me. Whatever. Blah, 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 right? Who's the they that he's talking about? He's talking about the Jews. Quote unquote the Jews. He's basically trying to say that there's a conspiracy by Jewish people, right, in order to ruin his career and stuff like that. They wouldn't let me talk at the funeral. They wouldn't let me do this. Well, who the fuck is they? It can't be because you're insane and you've gone off your rocker and you stopped taking your medicine and all that stuff and you're saying all this crazy shit and nobody wants to be associated with that. No, can't be that. Has to be a conspiracy. It has to be a conspiracy of people in robes, satanic worshipping Jewish people in robes meeting in the center of the earth, along with like clones of like Hitler riding on a dinosaur, using space lasers to start fucking forest fires in California or some shit. It's got to be that. Can't be that you fucked up. And you notice he's also blaming everybody else in the crowd there too. You weren't there for me. You didn't help me. You over there. Y'all over there didn't say anything while they were doing this to me. Like, anyone in that room knows any of this stuff that happened, or was there when this happened, or had any kind of control over it. That's another kind of symptom of this kind of, this paranoia, this idea that I'm all by myself. Nobody did anything to help me, even though there are things that no one would even have the ability to help you with. Like, how the fuck is anyone in that room going to help you speak at a funeral? Like, what do you expect them to do? Show up at the guy's house and beat his ass? Like, what the hell? Like, what do you expect people to do? No, but that doesn't compute. That's the psychosis talking. This man really needs help. He really does need help. Moving on.
This is what I'm talking, baby. Drake, I love you. I'm gonna get the tattoo. But any of y'all niggas, Trav, Drake, whoever, y'all gotta show up. And don't tell me I'm talking crazy. Y'all niggas, I motherfucking Pharrell and me. Hey.
See, y'all gotta show up. Y'all gotta show up and help me. Don't tell me I'm talking crazy. I mean, if this can't make it any more clear, right? This man kind of belongs in an institution.
Come on, me, Pharrell, we broke down this door. We all in this shit together. We all in this shit together. And we all dealing with a lot of... We all... And what I'm telling you, a lot of people had shit to say about my Jewish comments, but ain't nobody in this motherfucking room, and none of y'all entertaining niggas ever said nothing when I was praying to see my kids one of the last days, what's my nigga that got fucking locked up for the Mega Salad shit? Oh, Tory. Okay, look. So Tory Lanez called me. We were saying prayers. We were saying.
Say that? What exactly did he say there, right? Everybody everybody had lots to say when I was making anti-Jewish comments, but none of you people stood up when I wasn't allowed to see my kids. Like it's a conspiracy. Like it's a personal conspiracy. Like, oh, well, they were all in on it. Right? Apparently Kim Kardashian has said no contact with his children. He gets like either no or very limited contact, I think. I think he does get to see them occasionally. Last I checked, I don't know. I'm not going to bother looking that up. But he takes that as part of a personal conspiracy. Oh, you guys didn't help me. Did you just catch what he just said? You guys didn't help me. When they took away custody of my children, you didn't help me. What do you expect all those people in that room to do? What are they supposed to do? How are they supposed to go protest outside of Kim Kardashian's house? Is that what's supposed to happen? No rational person would expect other people to intervene in your custody battles with your children. No rational person would do that. This is it. I mean, this is it right there. This is kind of a slam dunk for me. I mean, like I said, I'm no doctor, right? I'm speaking out of my ass, but I don't know. My ass kind of has some good things to say about this, I guess, because it seems to me that it fits it 100%.
Prayers on the phone together, and I prayed that day, and y'all saw that shit, and y'all saw when I couldn't see my kids, when I couldn't see Chicago too. All y'all niggas on Instagram got some shit to say. Y'all niggas saw this shit. Don't tell me about my fucking political opinion. I made more money to show you that money ain't nothing. It's our money, nigga. It's our country, nigga. Yeah.
Don't tell me about my political opinions. I made more money. That's another thing. Another thing that you get, that sort of that narcissistic personality disorder. I made more money. Don't tell me about my opinions. Like, so his opinions are superior to yours because he has more money? That's a thing that a lot of rich people tend to believe. Especially when it comes to politicians and the like, people from the upper classes. That kind of attitude is like really prevalent in my own personal experience. Now, granted, I don't run in those circles, and I can count the number of billionaires I've met on no hands because I've never met one. That does seem to be a very common belief among super rich people, is that they think that their money gives them superpowers. They think that since they're rich and they must be doing stuff right, and then that must mean that they're super smart. and then that must mean that they're smarter than you. Then that must mean that what they believe is better than what you believe, and that must mean that they have a right to impose their will upon you. You know, kind of reminds me a lot of, what did they call that back in the day in the Middle Ages? You know, the divine right of kings. Kind of sounds like that, doesn't it? You get a lot of this also from Christians and the prosperity gospel shit as well. That's really kind of reminds me of that too. Prosperity gospel, right? Oh, well, this man is rich because God likes him. And God made him rich as a reward. God made him rich and prosperous as a reward for his faith or whatnot. He has a divine right to his money. And that must mean that he's better than you, so that you should be forced to listen and do what he says. That's one step below that. Like, prosperity gospel shit is like one step below the divine right of kings. Donald Trump kind of like does that same shit too. Look how rich I am. Look, I've got my own plane. I've got names on my buildings. I'm a former president. All this other shit. I'm super duper fucking rich. You should do what I say. It may surprise people out there to learn that rich people are just normal people, and they can be subject to all the same ridiculous, idiot conspiracies and other assorted horseshit, stupid, ridiculous horseshit that normal, non-rich people are subject to. That always kind of blows people away. Some people just don't understand that. They don't understand that somebody like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk can be stupid sometimes, or that they don't know everything all the times, or that their opinions are not always the best opinions, or they may believe things that are racist or misogynist or something like that. You know, they may believe things like that that are not 100% beneficial to all of mankind, that kind of thing. Like, people still kind of believe that, you know, he's rich, he must be doing something right. Well, just because you can run a business effectively, or you can run a corporation, or just because you were born with a shitload of money, like Elon Musk was, doesn't mean that you're superior intrinsically to anybody else. I'm under the firm belief, really, that, and this is just my own belief, obviously, that you can basically take anybody, give them the right proper education and the right background, and they can do any job as effectively as anyone else. That's my personal belief. I really do go more with nurture over nature now. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a scientist. I could be wrong. I am, like I said before, talking straight out of my asshole. But that's just my own personal opinion. That seems to be backed up by the evidence as far as I can see. Anyway, went on a rant there. Let's continue. There's still 8 minutes left of this.
It's like stole it from us. It's pyramids, nigga. It's pyramids. It's St. Louis, nigga, Missouri. They stole it. All the shit. America just the latest bitch that been ran through so many times. The Greeks hit her. Mansa Musa hit her. We had her. The Indians and shit. The motherfucking pilgrims. It's the Jewish niggas. They dress the same, nigga. It's the same shit. That's the story. They put us in the school. The Rothschilds.
Now he's gone completely into conspiracy land. He's now saying that the pilgrims were Jewish and Rothschilds and all that stuff. And that the United States is just the latest victim in the, I guess, international conspiracy of controlling Illuminati Jewish people that have apparently controlled everything since the beginning of time. That's the other thing that I don't really get about the whole Illuminati thing. It's like, they're supposed to have been around for hundreds of years, and they were behind the founding of the United States, and they were behind this, and they were behind World War II, and they were behind, you know, the Rothschilds were around and all this. And it's like, well, fuck. If this was real, it's like they don't have very good long-term planning skills. Right? Like, seriously, look how fucked up the world is. Wars and global fucking climate change destroying everything. And, you know, right now, Florida, giant storms, flooding. Literally millions of people in Florida right now are in danger of being flooded out of their homes. What the fuck are they doing about it? I mean, if there's a cabal of Jewish space overlords, how come they're not fucking helping people in Florida? Right? What, no Jewish people live in Florida? Is that what you're trying to say? Like, you know, if they ran everything, if they had this power to run everything and run the entire world and control every last little instance of our lives and all that, then how come they're not doing it? How come everything's so screwed up? How come this attack from fucking Hamas in Israel was allowed to happen? I mean, don't they run everything? Aren't they in control of stuff? Didn't they know that was going to happen? Don't they have, like, I don't know, radio transmitters inside of people's heads and shit? Right? Like, aren't they beaming fucking microwave messages into people's brains or whatever the conspiracy people think? How come what do they just drop the ball on the Hamas thing, right? It's ridiculous. It's the idea that anybody is in charge of anything to that degree is absolutely fucking stupid as hell. And it just really gets me that no matter how many times this is demonstrated, these conspiracy theories never fucking go away. It's really insidious and sad, and really the real sad thing is that Kanye West is a victim of this shit too. He's a victim of these conspiracy theories. Because if he were a rational person who wasn't mentally ill, who was actually taking his medication, he wouldn't be ranting like a crazy person here right now. He wouldn't have lost his fucking shoe deal. He wouldn't have lost his access to his children. That's how this shit is dangerous, folks. Moving on.
I know Jay-Z back here like, oh, this nigga gonna die now. I've been here for a year, my nigga. They can't fucking touch me. Why? Because God covered me. He covered me. And guess what, Trump? We ain't giving you support unless you get Larry out. Unless you get Jeff out. You understand what I'm saying? Because y'all niggas, y'all politicians think y'all gonna just get our shit for free. Oh, all of a sudden, nigga, because you got a mug shot, you with us now? No, nigga. No, what you gonna do for us?
Yeah. Now, this can get a little hard to follow because he's jumping from one subject to another at, like, you know, terminal velocity here, at the speed of light, talking about politicians and Trump, and I think he just mentioned Trump's mugshot. You know, you're not one of us just because you got a mugshot, blah, blah, blah. But I wanted to kind of point out a few things he said there. He said, God is protecting me. God has given me this. Kind of sounds like, yeah, like what I was just saying, the divine right of kings here. He thinks he's so smart, that he's so super smart because he's rich, because he's successful, because he put out, you know, some good music and stuff. And I'm not going to say his music isn't good, because it is. Although, I mean, I don't think he's a genius per se, but he does put out good music. But he thinks that he's so fucking smart because he's been successful in one area of his business, that he's got divine protection, that it must be because God said that he was, you know, God gave this grace to him somehow, that his success is divinely mandated. Like I said before, a lot of rich people believe that, but they kind of don't express it the same way that he is. I doubt that you'll find, for example, Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or anybody like that straight out say, the reason why I'm rich is because of God. I highly doubt that you're going to get that from them, but it's that sort of, they wouldn't say that out loud, but it's sort of like a belief that underpins, like this superiority complex. And for most rich people, it's because of money. They think the superiority complex comes from money, that they're rich because they're smarter, they're better, they make better decisions because they were just born, either they were just born smarter, or they have a divine mandate to be smarter. What he said, what Kanye West said, you would get it from a lot of like preacher type people like James Dobson and stuff like that. That's the kind of belief you would get from them. Like I said, it's basically one step below the prosperity gospel is what Kanye West is saying. God made me successful. God's protecting me. I'm still here because God is protecting me. Like, what is he trying to say? Like, what? That they were going to kill him? That he was going to fade in obscurity? No, he's protected. He has a divine mandate to put out records, to sell music, and to go around and say all this anti-Semitic shit. He's on a mission from God here. And it's a very common thing that you get from paranoid schizophrenics. That's what it is. It's, you know, although I don't think he's schizophrenic. I think he just has bipolar disorder. But I mean, kind of sounds like he's getting close to that. You know, I don't know. Maybe he should get re-diagnosed, because that kind of sounds like the classic paranoid schizophrenic use case to me. How long before Kanye West claims to actually be Jesus and not just protected by Jesus? I think that's probably his next step in his career. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if Kanye West tried to start a cult. I mean, didn't he have that weird-ass school where all the kids have to dress the same and shit like that? He's got some kind of school, like, yeah, where it's like, yeah, the kids are all dressing the same and they're all like, you know, there's no actual work that they do. And then she's got some kind of girlfriend that he, like, makes wear certain clothes. Like, he can, I'm not even really sure about that. Like, you just see pictures of them walking around and, like, he'll have a hood over his head, and then the girl that he's with, some kind of, like, model, is only allowed to wear clothes that he, like, allows her to wear, and then sometimes he makes her put a fucking burqa on and shit. I mean, I could see that being a thing. I could definitely see in a few years Kanye West fucking, I could see him starting a compound in fucking Jonestown and, like, you know, brewing up some Kool-Aid, right? It was actually Flavor Aid, by the way, in Jonestown. It wasn't Kool-Aid. It was Poison Flavor Aid. Anyway, continue. Kool-Aid and Flavor Aid is like the same fucking thing, but whatever. Continue.
What they gonna do for us? Y'all niggas done voted Democrat all these motherfucking times. Y'all niggas showing up at the LV show. These niggas is colonizers, nigga. The French own 80% of the banks in Africa, nigga. That's why I just met with MBS, nigga.
No, they don't. And what do you say? First off, the French. What does the French mean? Do you mean French companies? Do you mean the actual owner of the bank is French? Does it mean the French government? You see how this works? Like, now, when you just say that out loud, the French own 80% of the banks in Africa. Like, I don't know if that's true, and I'm not going to bother looking it up because it sounds like bullshit to me, right? Sounds more like the banks in Africa are probably conglomerates, just like every other fucking company or corporation in this world, right? I wouldn't be surprised. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are actually owned by French companies, because French Empire, right? They colonized Africa. That's true. But just listen to the way he said that makes it sound like it's something like really insidious. Like, these people are being controlled. It's a conspiracy. Like, how the fuck is it a conspiracy exactly? Like, I mean, I'm sure anybody can start a bank if you have the right capital, can you not? Or are there laws in the various countries of Africa saying, no, you're not allowed to start a bank unless you're a French company? Like, see, it's like, you can, that's the thing with conspiracy theories, right? Is that you can just say something like that with nothing to back you up, and it doesn't make any sense if you examine it. But just on the outside, if somebody just listening to this rant picks that up, they might actually agree with it. They might actually think, because what is he really trying to say? He's really trying to say people in Africa are being controlled. His next word there, they're colonizers. We're being controlled. We're not free. And they're controlling us through money. That's kind of what it sounds like to me, right? I mean, this is a very common conspiracy theory, anti-Illuminati kind of thing. A lot of people who are like spread conspiracy theories about the Federal Reserve will say something very similar to that too. That the banks are all run by Jews. Because that's what he's really trying to say here. The banks are run by Jews. And they're controlling you through interest rates and loans and blah, blah, blah. Shit like that. It's a very common fucking thing. What he's trying to say. Like a very common conspiracy theory that he's bringing out. But it doesn't, if you just try to examine the actual claim for 2.5 seconds, it falls apart. Just like all conspiracy theories actually fall apart. This is why they never give particulars. If you were to ask Kanye West, if you were to get him alone in a room and get him to stop fucking ranting and say, hey, okay, you said 80% of the banks in Africa are controlled or are owned by the French. What does that mean? You know, give me an example. What bank, what French person owns it? What do you mean by France? Do you mean the government of France? Do you mean people who are French nationals that own it? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? He would not be able to tell you that, right? Because there's no actual evidence. There's no actual proof for any of this stuff. That's the thing about conspiracy theories, is that there is no proof. There doesn't have to be proof about conspiracy theories, right? because it's not about the truth. Conspiracy theories are about things that make you feel good. He says these things because it makes him feel good, right? It appeals to his personal politics. We're not free. We're being controlled by Jews and space lizards and shit. That's what he's really trying to say. That's just what you got to remember, folks. It's not about the truth. There is zero truth to any of this stuff. This is why whenever you try to argue with a conspiracy theorist, they can never actually give you adequate examples or proof to back up their claim, because it doesn't exist. Because it's not about that. It's about saying shit that makes you feel good and that aligns with your personal beliefs and politics. It's like basically the exact same thing as when a Christian goes, and what they'll do is they call it witnessing, and then you witnessed in Christ to people. And it's basically when you tell your story, when they say you're witnessing, you tell your story of how you converted or whatever, or how you came to realize Christianity was real, blah, blah, blah. That's what it is. That's what he's doing. He's witnessing right now. He's telling his story, trying to make it sound like he's divinely fucking, I don't know, protected or some shit. Or that he has the super secret info that'll protect you from the fucking space lizards or something. But it's not about the actual fucking truth. Moving on.
Head of Saudi, nigga. We don't have to bow to this shit, nigga. Okay, it's 60 million of us in America, 60 million Jews in the world. 50% of our deaths is abortion. 25% of us go to prison. Raise one hand if you don't know one nigga in prison, one nigga got locked up, and one nigga poor.
So he's trying to say what exactly? That the Jews are putting black people in prison and forcing them to get abortions? Let's see. Let's fact check Kanye West here. How many black people are in the United States? 41.6 million. Okay, African American population. So actually, no, that's less. I got another one that says 47.2 million, 2021. So right around there. So it looks like it's less than 60 million. I didn't know that, but yeah, okay. How many Jewish people in the world? Google is auto-populating that. As of 2022, the world's core Jewish population, those identifying as Jews above all else, was estimated at 16.2 million. Wow. Israel hosts the largest core Jewish population in the world with 6,983,000, followed by the United States with 6 million. So, kind of sounds like to me, if we're comparing the number of black people to the number of Jewish people, that the African Americans in the United States, that was just in the United States, by the way, kind of have the Jewish population like beat by a factor of more than 10. So why would the Jewish people be so interested in putting black people in prison and aborting them? Like, why specifically? Because what? They just don't like black people? Something like that? Is that what it is? I'm sure if you were to ask him why, he'd have a very elaborate explanation that didn't make any sense. But you did notice that he didn't explain why. He gave these numbers that he just pulled right out of his butthole about population, and then he just went on to say, how many of you know someone in prison? Right? As if that's supposed to prove his point. Like, as if that's supposed to see, like, see, I was right. How many of you know somebody in prison? How does that prove that they're in prison because of Jewish people? It doesn't. It doesn't at all. It's conspiracy theory bullshit. And that's what conspiracy... It's like, no, he doesn't have to. That's the thing. He doesn't have to prove it. He doesn't have to give any rationale for it at all. He just has to say it, and that's enough. That's the thing about these kinds of... Like, you just have to, like, make the accusation. And that's enough for most people. Like, most people in that, somebody watching this is going to just straight up believe his ass now. without doing any fact checking at all, because that's the other thing about conspiracy theorists, is that there is zero actual fact checking, zero actual research as to what's real and what's not. Because if conspiracy theorists actually did do research to look up and see if this shit was true, they wouldn't be conspiracy theorists.
Wait, raise your hand if you don't know one person got abortion. Now I'll tell you, if it was in a Jewish mother on Friday with no fucking, everybody raised their hands. So wait a second. But wait a second. Who make the hospitals though? Who got the hospitals? These are Zionists, nigga. This is what I'm trying to tell you.
So every hospital in the country is run by Jewish people? When did that happen? Is this something I just don't know about? Is this like some kind of law? Is there a law that says only hospitals are allowed, or ones that are run by Jewish people? Run by Zionists? I like how he switched to the word Zionist, by the way. I'm pretty sure if you were to ask Kanye West what a Zionist was 6 months ago, he probably had no freaking clue what a Zionist was. I'm pretty sure. I'm willing to bet my hat on that. I don't even have a hat. If I had a hat, I would bet it that he didn't have any idea what that is. And then since the latest round of trouble happened in Israel, Zionism has been in the news a lot. And then he just discovered what it is, and it reinforced his previous anti-Semitism. I would bet $1 million that I don't have that is the case. But where did that come from? What, all the Jewish, what? So, and just listen to that, like, let's just take that claim then. So, even if the hospitals are run by Jews, how does that force black people to get abortions? Just because they perform abortions? I mean, there are other people in the country that get abortions besides black people, right? You know what? I'm gonna look something up. Let's see. I'm gonna look up. Let's just fact check this real fast. Right. Number of abortions by race. 2023. U.S. abortions by race from the Guttmacher Institute. Okay. Let's see. Reject all cookies. So I think this site is an actual anti-abortion site. Let's see. Race of U.S. abortion patients. Let's move this over here. And let's make this a little bit bigger so we can read this. Race by U.S. abortion patients. Guttmacher Institute. Anti-abortion website. Okay. Race. 39% white. So of all the people in this country, the majority of them who get abortions are actually white people. 28% black. That's pretty high. But still. 25% Hispanic, 6% Asian, Pacific Islander, 3 other. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, looking at the rest of this, it's mainly tied to income. And that's just been a fact forever. The more likely you are to be poor, the more likely you are to get an abortion. Why? Because having a child is extremely expensive. You know, and not just the actual birth part, which can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. I think I remember when my niece was born, it cost my brother something like $25,000. Like, that's how much it costs to, like, have a kid in this country. And that was fucking 16 years ago. Who even knows what it's at now? And I remember this because my brother, basically, they lied about their insurance because their insurance wouldn't cover it. So they had to lie about their insurance and say that his wife was on her mother's insurance in order for them to actually fucking cover it. Right? That's what it was. Or else they would have had to pay, like, you know, all of that. And they still ended up paying, like, fucking a shitload of money. Like, but still, $25,000 to fucking just to be born. Right? Like, you almost don't blame people. Like, you always talk about, like, there's people, you know, kind of as an aside, there's those sort of, like, you know, barefoot sandal hippie people that believe in things like natural medicine and shit. and they want to have midwives and stuff give birth, and then everybody's like, no, you should be in a hospital. And it's like, yeah, you should be in a hospital for the safety of the baby, but I can understand if you want to have a midwife deliver something, because then it won't cost you 25,000 fucking dollars. God damn. But I just want to kind of notice some things here, right? Right. Some things here that, because this, and remember, this is an anti-abortion website, right? These stats here kind of debunk a few things about abortion. You know, the family size, 59% already have a child. Religion, 62% are religiously affiliated. What does that mean? Well, what's the biggest religion in this country? Christianity. So the people actually getting abortions are poor, religious, already have kids, and they're already in their 20s. That means that they're either married or they're in a long-term relationship with children already, and they can't afford to have another one. So that's what the actual abortion stats are about, right? That's what he's talking about. Kanye West, let's go ahead and turn that shit off for now. Get rid of this thing. Oh, wait a minute. What happened to my... Did I turn it off? No. Okay, there we go. I was going to say, holy shit. You know, but Kanye West thinks abortion is a conspiracy. He thinks that evil reptilian Jews are controlling everyone and forcing black people to get abortions because the Jews own the hospital. Like if you go in and you're pregnant and you're a black woman and you go into the hospital, they just like, what do they do? Tie you down and drug you, and then you wake up and say, oh, we gave you an abortion? Like, is that what fucking happens? It's the dumbest shit ever. It's so dumb. Continuing.
Jesus Christ, Hitler, yay. Third party. Sponsor that, nigga. Yeah. Bring the sponsorships to
that. Jesus Christ, Hitler, yay. I think his delusion is complete. You know, 10 minutes ago, I just remarked that his next step is that he's going to be comparing himself to Jesus. Dude, he just did it. He compared himself to Jesus and Hitler, which means that he thinks Jesus and Hitler are on the same wavelength. That they're the same, like, they're on the same, like, you know, they're comparable. So does that mean that he thinks Hitler was divinely inspired? I guess? Or divinely unprotected, or on the same place as fucking Jesus? I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but, and remember, I haven't watched this far into this. Alright, I watched maybe like the first like 2 minutes of this, and then just fucking said, fuck it, I have to cover this. Like, don't mean to toot my own horn, but that's exactly what just fucking happened. I mean, I don't know. Am I wrong, folks? Anyway, I think there's another 10 minutes of this. I'll put the link down in the thing for you guys who want to watch this yourselves. But I think we've kind of gone through enough of this. And, you know, folks, here's the thing. I'm not trying to make fun of Kanye West. I'm not trying to say that he's an insane right-winger scumbag on the same level as, say, Nick Fuentes or something like that. I truly do believe that this man needs help, that he's mentally ill, and that he needs help, and that he's been taken advantage of by people like Nick Fuentes and Milo Yiannopoulos and stuff. I really do believe that. But I just want to, you know, why am I interested in it so much? It's because it's a perfect example of what happens when conspiracy theories are allowed to run around unchallenged. Like, why is he glomming onto this stuff? Like, why? And it's not just him. It's not just him. A lot of people that have the same types of paranoid delusions that he is currently experiencing, they gravitate towards the same shit. Anti-Semitism, you know, religious fucking fundamentalist craziness. They all end up thinking that they're fucking God or whatever. They all end up like identifying with Nazis. He's not the only one. He's not the first one. It's happened a lot. You know, it's like extremely common. This type of, the exact same rhetoric that he's using. And it just so happens because the fact that he's super famous, that this is why it's gone on for so long. If he was anybody else, if he was any other person, he'd be on his medication by now. Somebody out there would have, like, you know, encouraged him, his wife or something would have encouraged him to take medication, and he would have been forced to it. He probably would have been committed by now. But because he's Ye, you know, he's Kanye, and he's super fucking rich, and he's got, you know, a million fucking, you know, sycophants surrounding him every 5 minutes, telling him that everything he says is, like, you know, the best shit ever, it's been allowed to go on and on and on like this. And that's what, it's really just messed up that this has been allowed to happen. But the other thing, folks, that I really want to kind of emphasize is that if we didn't allow this kind of crazy conspiracy hate speech to be as prevalent as it is on the internet, he probably never would have found it, and he probably never would have gone down this particular rabbit hole. And he wouldn't be spreading around hate speech. There wouldn't be Nazis fucking on, you know, overpasses in LA with signs saying Kanye was right. He wouldn't have lost access to his children. He wouldn't have lost his shoe deal. None of that stuff. It's because we allow this dangerous rhetoric to exist. Now, Kanye West is probably never going to actually hurt anybody. But other people with his same type of illness tend to get extremely dangerous. This is why you see things like school shootings and mass shooters and stuff. They have these same delusions. They put out manifestos that say the exact same shit as this. The Batman shooter, for example, had the same kind of psychosis as Kanye West does. Right? The guy that in 2012, I think. You know, when did Dark Knight Returns come out? Was it 2008 or 2012? I think it's 2012. You know, went up, shot that fucking theater. He was like dressed up like the Joker. Went and killed fucking like 20 people in a movie theater in Colorado. Remember that shit? Right? That guy had the same fucking delusions. Right? The guy that went and attacked Paul Pelosi with a hammer, same fucking delusions as this. Had a website, we covered that in a stream, had a website with anti-Semitic fucking memes and shit all over it. Was just as crazy. The exact same thing. It's like you could have took Kanye West and took that guy out, put Kanye West in, and there would have been zero difference. They're saying the exact same shit. And Kanye West just has an extra bit of narcissistic personality disorder thrown on top. It's appalling. This is why it's embarrassing, appalling, and this is why it's important to fight back against conspiracy theories. Because they're fucking dangerous. They ruin people's lives and they get people killed. So we should not allow that, right? When you find your friends and your family spreading this type of hatred, you gotta call them out on it. You have to correct people when they say crap like this. You gotta call them out. Don't let it stand when somebody starts spreading around anti-Semitic horseshit like this. Don't let it stand, because this is what ends up happening. It ruins people's lives. And Kanye West, even though the shit he's saying is hateful and hurtful, bigoted, anti-Semitic, and insane, he's a victim of this just as much as anybody else.
Hello folks, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.